you say that, but I have a floor. Delaware Valley Regional Finance Authority. They have large blocks. No, you opened it up. I'm just going to tell you. So, and I'm happy to have you give your side, and I'm just going to give my side as well. Right. To see the right as I do the right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
So there were alternatives that we could have gotten the money. First of all, when they took the bond issue out for the community center and also for the library, and I think the library is a great job. That was one project that I think that they did a great job of.
Okay.
But why would you borrow your money? I mean, if I'm going to build a house, would I borrow all the money from day one and pay interest costs on that money, even though I knew it was going to take 4 years to build my house or to build that library? That makes no sense. As a businessman, you would never do that. You would try to set up your loan financing so it's more like a construction loan, just like businesses do, like a credit line that you can draw down on, so that you don't pay interest costs until you actually incur the expense. So no, what did the board do? They went out and borrowed all the money up front for a 4-year construction project and had to pay substantial. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars of additional interest expense, when if they would have went through the Delaware Valley Regional Finance Authority, they could have done staggered receipt financing and then received it in pockets over the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. Okay? You might disagree with that, but you know what? I think most of the people at home would have been happy to save $8 million in a building that never got built, spent a lot less, and had bids for the $6.7 million municipal contract park that we have out there, and also saved millions with reduced interest payments on that debt, and done staggered receipt financing and other things like that. Now, another thing we brought up when we first came on this board in January. The citizens think that we're not listening. Well, you know what? 2 of us are. We wanted to put the minutes online, and we've been asking the administration to do that. Mr. Pellegrino is doing a good job, and he's trying to get things on the website, and so I think Jim and I said we're going to give him 6 months to do that. But I'll say this, on July 9th, if it's not online, then I'll make them available on the website of the Northampton Township Democratic Party. And I was sensitive to some of the concerns, too, of the citizens that said I shouldn't be the chair of the party. And so I actually had stepped down. I promised I would stay with the party through the primary election, and then I stepped down. And so I am no longer the chairman. Because I'll tell you what, it takes almost all my time just to keep up with these guys, to do my homework, to find out where all our money is going here.
You didn't even look at the budget.
What? No, you say that, but okay. Yeah. So I wanted the citizens to know that with regard to the minutes and also the accounts payable. I think it's actually just as important for this community that we put the accounts payable online as well. So when they get voted on, we can just have them as a hyperlink, and they can sit there and take a look. These get approved kind of on a pro forma. There's maybe 10 pages of bills that we actually sign, and I actually got the checks right here that we have to sign for everything from insurance to electricity to hardware to everything, parks and recs, the whole deal. And I think it actually would be very good for us to have the citizens to be able to have that available online so they could go through it. Because one of the things I brought up at the first meeting that I thought we should do is institute some kind of system where citizens could identify cost savings for our township that we then acted upon, that we should give a 10% reward to those citizens to help us for the first year savings. So that if there's a $100,000 program and they find a way for us to save $10,000 on that program, that they would get a $1,000 bonus for the $10,000 that we saved for that year. The additional savings for the next year, then we would get that. But those are the kinds of things that 2 of us have been trying to work hard to get an honest, open, and transparent government.
You never talked about
here.
anything in the back room about any of those programs.
Okay, Mr. Pellegrino,
other than the employees, you wanted to circumvent. I'm sorry. You wanted to circumvent the township manager, insult the department heads, and actually have a program that was completely separate.
I rise on a point of order, Mr. Chairman. The speaker's out of order.
Well, then just, let me go.
Please.
Okay.
I have the right to rise on a point of order. That's my right. Check it out.
Now, look, I can take care of him. He's
Please.
fine. Now, let me bring up with regard to this issue came up, the frustration that the citizens have had with the sewer board.
I thought you were answering what I had to say.
Well,
Not
I'm-
going into a
I'm-
dissertation.
This is citizens' concerns. This is,
Well, I'm just going to respond as well. I mean, bottom line, Mr. Bass, you know, I've met you on a few occasions, and I've met your wife as well, who I think by all accounts is a lovely and charming woman. The bottom line is that, you know, if you're not happy, I'm sorry to hear that. But on November 8th, the voters spoke, and I was elected. And if
And
the
I
voters,
congratulated you
and if,
both.
and if the voters aren't happy down the line with my performance on this board, then they'll speak again and take the appropriate action. But the bottom line is, now that I'm here, I'm going to do the job that I was elected to do. And I'm going to ask questions. And I'm going to ask questions that folks on this board may not be happy with, or that you yourself as a Republican chairman or committee man will not be happy with. I understand that you have a number of political and personal loyalties among members of this board and among members of several other boards in the community. You know,
That's fine.
that's just simply my
That's what we're
response
here
to
for.
that.
you had your comments. You had, you know, thank you, Mr. Bass. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
Is that being recorded?
Yeah, so I know, well, it's being televised.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Please.
Okay, it is our
Understand-
township's sewer board.
Understand.
They're all your boards.
Don't say they're my board.
Mr. Rothermel, he's not at your direction.
Independent
He's pulled all the records
Gentlemen,
for you. If you want the records,
Okay,
he'd be more than
this
happy
is
to
what,
show
then this
them.
is how he characterized it, Mr. McKelvey. I've pulled all the records, they're all in there, and if you want to go find whatever you want to go find in there, I don't really know what's in there, but you're
He has
more than
spent time
free
in pulling
to
the
look at it.
records.
And I was a little disappointed with that answer, because since he
Show, and I apologize to say that because everybody's wallet is open. But when it comes right down to it, we are trying to do the best that we can.
Are you
people should be treated fairly, okay? Point of order, point of order.
Please,
Show your board.
please,
Okay.
please.
People should be treated fairly. And so what we wanted to do was to go through the prior sewer projects and see how those costs were done. And what I was a little upset with Mr. Zuner is, he knew exactly the information that I wanted, okay? And I don't see how hard it is for him to actually give us an answer.
Frank,
But I am. I'm going to take
there's
him up on
records
it.
probably 2 feet high, just
Please.
with one project. Go through them. You were down there once with
okay.
Mr. Cunningham.
And so what you're
You know
telling me-
exactly what kind of
what
records
you're
you
telling me-
have.
I'm not
telling the
interested in
public is you don't have
technical
any
drawings, I'm
idea.
interested in cost.
Just for the
I'm
records, the
interested
records
in
that were
cost.
kept down there were a complete and utter mess.
Please, if we could.
At least you
Yes.
got
Mr. Rothermel is going to go down to Mr. McKelvey. Mr. Long has indicated that. Let me just, if I could just tell you what I know, which is not much, but
No,
a
well-
little bit of what I know. My understanding is that in this project that is being specifically mentioned about Chapel Drive, and there's more than one, there were pipes put into the ground, and they were paid for by the developer when they went in. These are houses that were being brand-new built. So when somebody says there wasn't an assessment, well, that's exactly right, because they were paid for. I never paid for an assessment to my home, because, quite frankly, the sewers were put in by the developer.
That's not correct, George.
Understood.
In a number of
No, it's not-
cases...
it's actually not right,
Please,
because the
will you
people-
stop interrupting
the
me,
neighbors that I
Mr.
contacted
Rothermel?
were living there before-
Mr. Rothermel, please.
Look, they were there for
Please do
15
not
years before
interrupt
they
me.
got sewers, so.
Just
Please
produce
do
the
not
documents and
interrupt
prove who's
Exactly,
right.
exactly. It
Mr.
should be
McKelvey,
easy.
if he stops interrupting me, just so you understand, there are certain cases, and we've looked at some situations, and it happened probably a little bit in the past for a number of years. There would be a time when a development was being built, and there was what was called a dry sewer. This was a situation where there was an authority board who said, we may look at sewers at this time somewhere in the future. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these sewers in. The developer paid to put those in. I don't doubt anything that was said, whether it was 10 or 15 years, that it might have been, but they had been paid for. And the individuals paid for it, whether they didn't get an assessment. So there's nothing wrong with what he said, it's just that it's inaccurate and it's misleading, because quite frankly, they paid for it when they bought their houses. So at a later date, when finally there was a hookup that was made so that they could in fact have the availability of the sewers, then they had to do that lateral connection and have the plumber hook it up. So it's accurate in what's being said, it's just being mischaracterized as to where exactly it is. So
Well, I
that's,
think College
that's the
Park
best
fits a different
information.
model,
Yes.
and I'd like at least
That's the
what
best
they paid
information
up
I
there.
have, and